You know, video games are pretty awesome. They can give us a wide range of experiences that we could never have even dreamed of if the medium didn't exist. One moment you could be exploring an apocalyptic world, the next you could be robbing a bank, and then after all that you can go drive a lorry around Europe. I mean, why not? I'm not gonna judge you. But sometimes you just want to get away from these action-packed experiences and play something a bit more calm and mellow. Now of course there are casual games like Harvest Moon, Cooking Mama and Space Jam I could play, but because I'm not a massive pussy willow, I need something a bit more in-depth to scratch my casual game itch. I need something larger, something more creative. The city building genre seemed to be almost unstoppable in the 90s and early 2000s, with such great releases like SimCity, SimCity, and SimCity. But then in 2013, EA released SimCity, and all of a sudden, there doesn't seem to be much SimCity anymore, because SimCity sucked. And so, fans of the SimCity building genre were left feeling down, because there hadn't really been a standout game in the genre since SimCity in 2003. And in comes Colossal Order, a Finnish game developer who saw the disservice that SimCity 2013 did to fans of city building games everywhere, and decided they would bless the planet with the best city builder to come out in years, and what many would consider to be the true successor to SimCity 4. That game is of course Cities Skylines, which you probably guessed by how you're watching this video. Upon launching the game, you'll be greeted with a main menu where you can do all the things that main menus do. Of course, there are your standard new game, load game, and continue buttons, but let's face it, no one cares about those. It's all about the options menu, baby, where you can browse the graphics options in the vague hope that putting one of these settings to low will allow you to play a city above 100k population with an actually decent frame rate. There are also editors you can use to create your own maps and assets to use in game, as well as a wonderful mod manager, which will become your best friend when playing the game of guess which mod is making my game crash. Possibly my favourite part of the whole game if I am truly honest. When you click on a new map, you get to choose the land area you want to play on, name your city, and most importantly for a Brit like me, make the traffic left-hand drive. Now one thing you've got to understand when going into this game is how it is basically SimCity. A lot of the gameplay mechanics, items you can purchase, and really the whole feel of the game is essentially borrowed from those games. So you start off with a plot of land emptier than my hopes and dreams, and are given your standard assortment of roads, residential, commercial and industrial zones, power supplies, and a highway connection to attach your city to. It's all incredibly familiar to people who have played these games before, but that isn't necessarily a bad thing, nor does it mean Colossal Order didn't put their own unique spin on things. The water, for example, is entirely dynamic, which while that probably won't mean much to a lot of people at first, it suddenly will when you accidentally flood your city trying to install your first dam. So I'm gonna go ahead and assume that if you're watching this video you have a fair understanding of how city builders work, but just in case you don't, let me bring you up to speed quickly. You build cities. Yep, that pretty much sums it up. The game gives you an immense amount of freedom, allowing you to basically build anything you want in it. Want a transportation hub in the middle of your city? Sure, why not? A needless amount of roundabouts laid out in a really weird way? Yeah, cool. Want to make an entire city out of penises? Hell, this game isn't going to stop you. It's funny because all this stuff is probably pretty common in most city builders made in the past 7 or so years. But literally the only one I've really played apart from this was SimCity on the DS, so, you know, all of this is pretty incredible. You can even split up your city into different districts, and give them stupid names and pass different laws in each part, which is incredibly helpful. The game also has a region system like the one in SimCity 4, but unlike that one, this one doesn't suck. You buy the region next to your city and then bam, you can just instantly build in it. No faffing about with menus and worrying about different dates and wondering how a change I made in the year 2000 here makes an instant change here several years later. It's just one of those games that you can lose hours to without even noticing. Not even 2 months has this game been out, and it's already jumped to my second most played Steam game with a total clocked time of 70 hours. Now that's either a reflection of how little I play Steam games, or how much I played Cities, but 70 hours is a hell of a lot of time, especially considering how little I've managed to achieve in this game. 70 hours and I feel like I have so much more to do. I haven't gotten a city to reach a population of 100,000 people. I haven't filled all 9 tiles in a map. I have barely conquered traffic issues, and all of this could totally just be because my experiences with city builders is pretty limited, but this game is going to keep me going for a long time. Even when recording this footage, I managed to play way longer than I originally wanted to. I mean, It wouldn't be one of my videos if I still didn't manage to repeat some footage I already used, but you know. Perhaps one of my favourite parts of this game is just how it makes your cities truly come to life. It's not just like traffic is just shown by some cars that don't really mean anything, or citizens in your cities are just clones that don't represent anything. No, every car has a destination, every citizen a name, a house, a job, every factory needs goods delivered, and they can all be renamed to be forever lost in the sprawling metropolis that is your city. Unless you have the mod that lets you search for them, but well, that isn't so magical, is it? It's incredibly cool to watch cars go about their daily business, and is also very helpful at figuring out why the hell your traffic is so bad. Pro tip: one-way roads are your friends and traffic lights are the devil. And indeed, the traffic in this game, while one of the most in-depth features in it, is perhaps one of the areas that brings the most frustration. You see, the traffic in this game is insanely detailed, as one would expect from the creators of the Cities in Motion games. You have an insane amount of customization available to you when creating your transport network, ranging from what roads to use to where to place all your bus stops. This leads to a great amount of freedom when designing your roadways, but also comes at a cost, as because the traffic system is so large, it has quite a few issues, and will likely be the thing that breaks your city. As far as I can tell, traffic works like this. It leaves the destination on a predetermined route, and then will not falter from that route for the entire journey. While this is fine in smaller towns, it becomes an issue later on when loads of cars are all trying to reach the same destination, therefore all following the same route, which can lead to lots of annoying problems where only one lane of your 6-lane road is actually being used. This becomes an especially big problem for your emergency services, who will also get stuck in traffic because they can't seem to grasp the concept that ambulances and fire lorries are allowed to go fast in a state of emergency. It's an issue that will plague your city the first few times you play it, and while solving the issue is incredibly challenging and rewarding once you do, it would also be a lot easier if the traffic just worked a bit better. It's not game breaking, but it's something you will have to bear in mind when designing your roads. Now, building upon what I said about freedom and customization before, the game also comes with an extensive map and asset editor for you to use. The asset editor allows you to use stuff already in game and make pre-built stuff out of it, such as road junctions or new buildings, so that you can easily place them into your own game. Indeed, this is especially helpful when you use the same type of junction a lot, or in my case, when you want to create a city made out of penises. The map maker is also pretty top, giving you a large amount of different brushes and options to carve the landscape with. I've seen some pretty great looking maps created using it. I say seen because I suck knobs with the editor, as almost every time I use it I end up flooding all my rivers. So if you know what you're doing, you will be able to make some great stuff with it. Or if you're incompetent, or someone called Alex, which are kind of the same thing, so I don't know why I split those up, then I hope you like water. I think my favourite part about it is how it even lets you import height maps, so you can use the height profiles of real life locations and put it into the game. And by height maps, I mean any PNG file that is grayscale, so you can create anything from recreations of your hometown, to rare Pepes, and even pictures of your friend's face. And of course, where would a PC game be without mods? Probably Origin. The game uses Steam Workshop, which allows for incredibly easy mod installs, from little things like new buildings and colour corrections, to aspects that could completely change how your game plays. And let me tell you, Cities Skylines has quite possibly one of the most dedicated and active modding communities I have ever seen in a recent game, amassing over 35,000 workshop submissions in less than 2 months. For comparison, Civ 5 has 4,000, Left 4 Dead 2 has 18,000, and Skyrim has 26,000. The fact that so much content has been made in such a short period of time is mind-boggling to me, and the prospect of what future mods could bring is very enticing. Already we have a mod that lets you walk around the city in first person. Now we have people working on helicopter sims, and even online multiplayer. Not to mention the game is going to get loads of updates from the developers themselves. Just bear in mind that when you install a lot of mods, it is going to impact your performance quite a lot. So in the end, would I recommend Cities Skylines to people who want to play a city builder? Sure, I mean, well, I guess. It's currently £23 on Steam, which when you consider the amount of playtime you could get out of it, isn't a ridiculous price to ask for. As someone who used to love this type of game when I was younger, Cities was a really great way of getting me back into the genre, where other games had failed to do so. It has its problems, a lot of problems, but it also has a lot of good in it too, like the fact I can make a city over my own face. So if you're looking to get back into the genre, or even start for the first time, I see no reason why Cities Skylines would be a bad choice. Now if you'll excuse me, I have a traffic jam to take care of. Frickin' moronic drivers. Whoa, hey, end card section, been a while since I've done one of those. Some of you might have noticed this video was slightly late, to which I reply, oops. College is entering exam season right now, so I'm kinda, prioritizing getting a good grade rather than making silly videos on the internet right now, so sorry if my next video is slightly late as well. I feel that because Cities is such a large game, I couldn't possibly fit everything I wanted to talk about in such a short time span. So if you are still undecided on the game, I will leave a link to a review LGR did on the game, which covers all the features of the game in better detail than I possibly could. Anyways, thanks for watching. I'll see you in another life. A second life, if you will. Now that's either a reflection. Now that's either a reflect. Jesus Christ! Wow, it's been a while. Now that's either a. Oh, for God's sake.